My name is Frankie Altamura, and I'm a New York-based curator and organizer in conversation with Danielle Brathwaite-Shirley, who's based between Berlin and London, and who is participating in Control the Virus Volume 3, a year-long digital exhibition curated by Martin Mayorga and Vanessa Murrell, founders of Data Eagle Art, and Zaiba Jabbar, artist and founder of Her Visions. I'm super thankful to have Danielle meeting with me over Zoom. And I do want to say, out of full transparency, we haven't discussed this work before, so this whole conversation will be recorded sort of off the cuff, which is going to be really cool. We're all finding out this information together. So Danielle, pushing the mic to you, can you just explain what the work is that you've created for Control the Virus?
Yeah, so basically I've made a detective horror game. And so the aim is 5 people have committed a murder, and you're trying to figure out which of those 5 is the murderer. And you have a time limit to do this because they're being chased by this flame monster they've awoken because they've murdered someone. And so it's kind of a horror environment where you're trying to figure out, as one of the town citizens, why they've done this and which one of them is responsible for this person's death.
Is this harking back to, this game called Mafia, where, kids are using cards to sort of figure it out? Or right. What led you to sort of create this sort of murder mystery detective?
Yeah, so actually it was after I read Stephen King's It, and I wanted to make a cosmic horror, because the idea of It is actually, they describe it as a cosmic horror, so something that existed before anything else did. But in fact has the power to use people's own wills against them and create horror by using people's own emotions and power. And so essentially, these 5 people, because of the murder they committed, they've awoken the cosmic horror of colonialism, which in this universe has been laid to rest. And so it's about the town kind of seeing this cosmic horror of colonialism wake up and incite hate, at the same time while trying to solve this murder and why this murder even happened in the first place. So it's kind of like 2 kind of parallel stories happening. It's like the end of an era as they know it, because this demon is essentially woken up and starts changing people. I don't want to give too much away, it's a problem. And then, and then you are kind of working as Columbo, if you imagine, or Hercule Poirot, and you are trying to piece together the clues of what's happened, and that's what you're doing. You're searching for clues and figuring out and making a decision at the end, ultimately, who is the murderer.
I actually have it at my bedside table, and it's really my ultimate fantasy to read it before I go to sleep, because my girlfriends and my friends and I are so interested in the clown, in Pennywise, but yeah. I have never gotten to it because I'm actually kind of a little afraid.
Yeah,
the reading of it, because I've heard it's like really intense.
Right.
I mean, was that like, yeah, I guess you're really influenced by this book, and you're sort of bringing a reimagined.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like new ways of like horror. So a lot of times, like when I think of horror, I think of like monsters. I think of like scary things going bump at the night. But reading Stephen King's It and a load of other horror books, actually, it started making me think about like larger types of horror that don't have to exist in a physical form, but can manifest in other ways. And so Stephen King's book, It, and the films were a big catalyst for that, because it let me see this other way of approaching horror. And so this is me kind of having a go at that. But at the same time, I'm a huge murder mystery fan, and I've never made a murder mystery game. I've actually made a concept video for one, but this is the first time I wanted to actually build that mystery into the work. And so you are working as a detective, so you get to have that experience of solving an issue. And so that's what I wanted to focus on, like horror, and also that you have to keep pushing forward in order to solve this thing, this murder.
I'm curious to hear, in some of the previous conversations I've had, I do like to ask where, your hand is involved. Are you someone that's, literally programming the game itself, or how does that work for you in your process?
Yeah, so essentially, what I would do, or what I would do for this one is I'd make up the videos. So I'd have maybe a folder full of like the 10 videos it needs to run. And so those 10 videos represent maybe like 5 choices twice. And then what I would do is find or test different engines that I might want to use that can string these together. So it can be done in Unity, it can be done online. And then I code it, or I like use a kind of subsection of code that's already worked for me. And so I just recycle that code. So yeah, because I'm not the best coder myself. Like I'm limited in what language I know. As in I know a language from 1987, but it's not helpful now.
So, because I haven't seen the game itself, is it, what kind of aesthetic will I be seeing?
Right.
Like, is it this aesthetic from 1987 code? Like, is it a sort of retro game or what?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like early primitive 3D art kind of aesthetic. So it feels a lot like Silent Hill or a game called Siren on PS2. It's very limited and it's basically trying to emulate old limitations. So for example, if you played on the PlayStation 1, you couldn't see maybe too far in front of you and there'll be like a fog that helps the machine render it better. And so it's using the same techniques as that, and older primitive techniques, essentially to focus more on allowing your brain to fill in the pieces. Because I found that the scarier games that I have played are the ones where the graphics weren't all that, but it left a lot of room for your mind to fill in the gaps. And that's what I'm trying to do in having your mind, as this cosmic horror does, have your own mind be the scariest thing rather than it be the characters that are jumping out at you.
So I think from what I understand, you're playing as these characters, these citizens who are trying to find this murderer, right? But is, what do you want as the outcome? Like, is there an outcome? I know you don't want to reveal too much. Like, is it possible to sort of find this person or this?
Oh, I'm not doing that.
Damn.
So it is possible to do things, and it is possible to change things. That's all. I'm not going to say the endings, but yeah, it's an interactive game, so it's possible for things to happen. But each decision affects the other one. So I think you're limited in how many turns you can have. So you could have maybe like 4 turns. I don't maybe tell you that. And then once you do, it's over. Your time's up. And if you have done it or not, then that leads to perhaps a different ending. Perhaps something happens. Perhaps something doesn't. Perhaps you get caught. So it's kind of it's you think of it as one of those old adventure books that you used to go to page 65. It's similar to that.
So again, I hope this question isn't asking you to reveal something, and of course you won't if it does. But is there like and I'm a game novice. I actually just played The Witcher the other day because this person I'm dating is like very into it. So I'm like, maybe I can get into games. Anyways, is there like a game play time, or can you really explore or sort of search for the murderer?
No, it's limited in how you can explore. So it's more similar to maybe like a point-and-click adventure game or an FMV game. It's like a full-motion video game, kind of that uses like moments of animation and then choices between those moments are stuck together. So like essentially you'd watch a portion, then there's a choice. The choice might be look at the bottles, it might be speak to this person, it might be go to this figure. And so those are your choices, and then you click, a video will play, and then it'll give you another choice, and then a video will play, and then give you another.
Oh my God. Okay, so I'm thrilled to be able to play this game and say that I'm a gamer. I'm wondering, I'm wondering, how does this game, I guess you said that you haven't done a murder mystery game, but how does it tie into your sort of the lineage of your work? Because from what I understand, you've been making these games for a while now. Do you see connections into older works or future works or?
No, this is kind of like a new kind of avenue I wanted to go off. I really wanted to make detective stories and like mysteries to solve. And it's going to be the start of me trying to build out the worlds, not just in the games, but outside of them. And so like there might be a Twitter that will pop up that's based on one of the characters in the game that will give you more information. So I'm trying to build this lore and this way of like explaining lore that isn't just stuck in the game. But I guess the game is the first puzzle piece, and then it will expand from there. That's the aim. So for me, it's very experimental. And I'm using a lot of new techniques and trying out things. So for example, trying out conversations in mocap, which is really difficult, especially to get timings, but that's something we're trying out. We're trying out this really strange facial talking mechanism where you can sync the voices, but it's really odd. And so it's just a big mix of experiment, really. And hopefully it'll be really creepy and do what I need it to.
Love that. Love creepy. I guess, you know, to my last question, you know, having the sort of themes or the game itself have some component of real life, do you have any merch available on Control the Virus? I know some people do, but
No.
Oh, okay. Shit. Didn't want to.
No merch, sadly. Yeah, no merch at all.
Not yet, but.
Not yet. I might be making some t-shirts and some caftans.
Cool.
For next year, but not in time.
Well, Danielle, honestly, it was a pleasure to get to hear and get a teaser for this work. I don't know. I think we can wrap it up here. This is a lot of like excellent content.
Yeah.
Mostly people are just gonna want to play it. So
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to do. I always say too much about the game, so I'm trying to not do it this time and see how that changes the effect.
The mystery is there. People will just go.
Yeah, I hope so. We'll see.
Well, thank you so much for speaking with me.
Thank you so much for your time. Have a lovely day, and I hope your eyes will be fine.
Thank you.